All right. Today on Thunder's Customer Spotlight, we are joined by Johnny from Hello Darkness Creations. Hi, Johnny.
Hello, how are you, Sam?
Good. So, why don't you go ahead and start and tell us just a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So my name is first. My full name is Juan Carlos Nieto, but everyone knows me as Johnny. I run a small little laser engraving business here in Lake Elsinore, California, called Hello Darkness Creations. Got started in this business. I think a lot like a lot of other people, just kind of like a hobbyist during the pandemic. Just needed something to do. Saw an ad for a laser engraver machine online, and I was instantly hooked. I have a CNC background in water jetting and laser cutting as well. So it was just kind of like right up my alley. So I took interest to it. Yeah, kind of just been doing that ever since, and just recently started doing it full time actually. So just left SpaceX after 15 years. So
Wow. Okay. So, let's dive into that a little bit. SpaceX, big name. What did you do there?
so for the first 12 years, I did CNC programming for water jets, lasers, mill CNCs, lathes, stuff like that. And then after about 12 years, I transitioned into additive manufacturing, so actually 3D printing. We were using some of the big EOS machines to 3D print like a lot of the engine parts, stuff like that. And then towards the end of it, it was, I got to a crossroads where Hello Darkness was kind of starting to take off a little bit, but all of my time was just being spent at SpaceX, so I had to make a decision, and it was, go with my dream of doing Hello Darkness full time.
Very cool. Well, that is something that a lot of people aspire to do is kind of release themselves from their corporate life and do their own thing. So we'll touch on that here in a little bit. But how
Sure.
did you get into lasers themselves? What was your first one? What did you do with it, and how did you really get started wanting to do your own thing?
So during the pandemic, like I said, I was really just looking for something to do. I was kind of burnt out on music, and like I said, having a CNC background, I came across just a random ad on YouTube. Honestly, it was actually for a Glowforge machine, and Glowforge being really good at what they do with their marketing, just sunk their teeth right in. And I had a little bit of funds, and I immediately just purchased it without doing any research or
Yeah.
anything. So, kind of jumped into that one. So got my feet wet with the Glowforge definitely for about a year and a half. Learned the ins and outs of what I could do with that machine, and then once I basically capped out, I started exploring other options, and that ultimately led me to Thunder.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I think we've all kind of been, victim, I guess, to the Glowforge barking, myself included. So they're very good at what they do, but as far as the actual product, after you buy it, not so much. So you've
Yeah, not so
transitioned.
much.
You've transitioned now to a Thunder. What machine do you have?
I have the Thunderbolt. I have the Thunderbolt. Yeah.
Awesome, and how are you liking it?
Oh, I love it, dude. I cannot say enough good things about it. The ease of use of this thing, of just turning the key, picking your file, and hitting go. It's just, I mean, compared to like the Glowforge, you got to turn it on, you got to wait for the thing to cycle itself through, and every once in a while you get those dumb messages: turn off your machine, reset your Wi-Fi, la 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 la.
Right.
I've never once had to worry about any of that stuff with my Bolt. It's a dream come true, dude. It's lightning fast. It's the precision. I'm sure you've seen like the mirror work that I've done. It's just insane what that machine can do. It really is. I can't say
Yeah.
enough good things about it.
Absolutely. I have a couple myself, and I am not disappointed every time I use them. So they're running pretty
Yeah,
much all day, every day for the most part. So glad you're
yeah,
loving
for
the
sure, man.
bolts. So let's go back to kind of to quit your full time job at SpaceX. What's your dream? I mean, you've obviously started recently doing that, and not too distant past. So what do you want to accomplish as your own business?
So long term, what I really have my sights set on is, so besides working from SpaceX, I'm also a musician myself. So I do play, or I have played in several bands, and I know how hard it is for bands to get good quality merchandise on their tables that they can not only sell to their fan base but also make money themselves on. So that's really what I got into this for, and I've been fortunate enough to have actually worked with a lot of my heroes so far. So I,
Nice.
I hope that I can continue that. Yeah, man, I'm really expanding to working with like small local bands to like bigger bands. I'm hopefully in talks with like some really big bands. I can't say right now,
Very
but
cool.
hopefully I'll be able to disclose that soon. But yeah, definitely gearing more towards the music market for sure.
Very cool. So you definitely have your own little niche that you're in. I think is much different than a lot of people that may be watching, different than what they do. So you mentioned that you
Sure.
are part of the band. What else, as far as what you're making, is it just for musicians, or are you doing things outside of that?
Oh yeah, no, I do things for everybody. Just musicians is just basically where I'm trying to navigate all of my work towards. But we also do a lot of fully customized work. So from portrait work, family work, sign work. We do a lot of work for local businesses. I mean everything from tumblers to mirrors to slate coasters to I mean you name it under the sun. If you can laser engrave, we probably do it.
Very cool. So where did your account name, the Hello Darkness Creations, come from?
Hello Darkness. It started, back in 2020 when I was just kind of, this was just kind of like a thought in my head. I was just kind of
Hmm.
thinking of some cool names. And I'm not really sure. Hello Darkness just kind of, Hello Darkness, my old friend. It just
There
kind
you
of
go.
stuck. And then I just kind of, I hit up one of my graphic design artists. I was like, hey, I kind of have an idea for this logo. Just use Hello Darkness. It kind of has a nice ring to it, and he drew out the logo. I loved the way it looked. And then as time went on, I think it just, I think like a lot of other accounts, you start to see people start to just kind of add creations into their name.
Sure.
And I just kind of just stuck it in there, and it just kind of Hello Darkness Creations. Everything just kind of stuck. But yeah, no really crazy origin to the name. I just thought it sounded cool.
Okay.
Simon and Garfunkel tune.
Yeah, for sure. So, out of all the things that you're making, whether it be for the music industry or anything else, what is your favorite thing to make on your Thunderbolt?
Oh, the mirrors. The
Mirrors.
mirrors by far. Oh man, I can't get enough of it. I have one of them right here. Like just like
Nice. Very
the
cool. I love
detail
those.
that you get in that is just absolutely insane. It's just yeah, I mean, I went from doing mirror work, like I said, on the Glowforge and cracking mirrors like every other time. It was like you're getting so close to finishing and then just crack, and then you're just done. That's an hour and 20 minutes of laser engraving just down the window. And the very first time I threw a mirror inside the Thunder, I mean, I wish there was a camera recording my face, my facial reaction. It was just, I was blown away. I immediately started calling my wife. I'm like, babe, get over here. Look at what this machine's doing. And we both just sat there like for 12 minutes until the whole mirror was done. And when I got it off the laser, I cannot believe the quality. It was just absolutely, it was like as close to photo quality as you could get.
Yeah, I've seen them, and I think they are quite awesome. So, very well done on those.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, what is a lot of people wouldn't even think of putting a mirror in a laser, something that's a little bit out there. It's not your normal, your wood, your acrylic thing. So, what's your process
Sure.
for making those?
So I found it really just depends. Definitely tinkering with your settings. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know what the laser's doing. It's going from a Glowforge to a Thunder. I'll be the first to admit I underestimated how much power this thing has. 100%. Um, I went super high on the power on the first one and just went crack, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's a lot of power for a mirror to handle. So definitely, first is paying close attention to your mirror thickness. A lot of the mirrors that I engrave are about 25 to 40 thou in thickness, so they're super thin, and that's what's so impressive about the Thunder is that it can deliver that much power, remove that much of the mirror coating, and still not crack the mirror. So there's definitely a process to it. You got to prep the mirror. I find that cleaning them up, making sure that they're really clean with acetone or alcohol. You don't want, a lot of times these manufacturers tend to glue up their mirrors on the backside. So when you remove the backing of any mirror, it's going to be caked up with all kinds of glue and stuff. And a lot of times it's a hassle removing that. So, and then other than that, just really making sure that you're on top of your PPE. Mirror is probably not something you want to be inhaling on a daily basis, because to some degree it is hitting that glass and it is flaking off into the air.
Sure.
So as good as PPE as you can have, you can never be too safe. So PPE for sure, and then your settings on your mirrors definitely.
Now, is that something that you have to paint, or is it just laser engraved?
No, so yeah, you have to paint it. So
Okay.
the process is you grab the mirror and you basically grab the backside of the mirror, which is the reflective coating. You put that on the bottom side, and a lot of times, like space safety specifically on the say like on the Glowforge, you're using the camera on the Thunder. When you put your image on there, typically you'd probably think that you have to invert it just because the coating of the mirror is going to be black. So if you put your regular picture on there, it's going to look a little weird, but that's exactly what you want. Because when the mirror engraves the picture off or it engraves the coating off, what you're going to do is you're going to fill the backside of the mirror with black paint, and that's what's actually going to make the actual image
Sure.
pop like that. So yeah, that's basically it. No, nothing too crazy. I have been wanting to try to get a little experimental with like different colors. I've seen people do some really cool stuff with actually going in and coloring in the actual mirror like an actual art piece, which
Okay.
would be really cool to do. I'm not very artsy like that, so I don't want to mess anything up. I just stick to black and just.
Well, you should definitely give it a try at least to see what you can do.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. Especially with like that glow in the dark like UV paint. I'm very interested in trying that.
That would be very interesting. A glow in the dark.
Dude, you know
I think that'd
what?
be right up your alley.
Doing that. Yeah, doing I'm kind of interested in trying some of that powder coating on a mirror. I don't know. That'd be kind of
There
crazy,
you go.
right?
Hey, you never know about things unless you try it, right? I mean, sometimes they work, sometimes
Absolutely.
they don't. But at the end of the day, you either know it will or it won't. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, these mirrors, like I said, they're probably one of the biggest sellers for sure, just because they're such a unique item. Oftentimes, just because of the quality, I have to show them off in actual videos in my stories. Because if I just post a picture, someone thinks I just printed a picture and stuck it in a frame. And I
yeah,
get messages like that all the time where they're like, "Oh, dude, you're selling that for X amount of money. It's just a print on a frame." And then I show them the video, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's actually like a reflective mirror. I can like do my makeup on it." And I'm like,
right.
"Yeah."
Yeah, yeah. It's
So
definitely one of
very
those
cool.
things that it's kind of required in the video, similar to like glass or even some clear acrylic stuff. Like you don't really get the full effect unless you're getting the lighting hitting it just the right way, and you need a little bit of movement
Correct.
for that. So totally
Sure.
get that.
Sure.
So with all the things that you make, a lot of people that want to start and do what you're doing, either full time or just even part time, want to know where they can find their customers. Now, every niche is going to be different, but what do you find works best for you? Is it online? Is it in person? Is it a mix? What do you do to get to your customer?
For me, it's primarily online based. However, I am trying to expand that in every way that I can. I have a lot of friends that own home based businesses or small businesses. So I'm constantly looking at their social media, looking at what they use for advertising. Great idea. My buddy he just printed out like 500 little handheld flyers. And every day he just goes for a walk in his community with his kids and he just drops them off at his doorstep. So I'm like, I got to start doing stuff like that. But primarily, the bands really give me a lot of pull, just because they're really good with sharing my stories when I do work for bands. We work. It's like I said, we all got to be able to help each other in this. The pie's big enough for everybody to eat, and
Sure.
I think the laser community is a really really good community where I've tried a lot of different things, but lasering is the one community that I found I could basically reach out to anybody. And for the most part, I'm going to get a pretty decent response back from a pretty decent human being,
Yeah,
from what I found, at least so far. So,
I would
um,
tend to agree with you.
yeah, 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 but primarily online. Advertising on like say if you're trying to sell small stuff like on OfferUp or eBay, stuff like that. But also, like just making stickers, making QR stickers, putting them everywhere you go. You
Yeah,
never know who's going to get curious and just scan that QR code, and then there you go, you got a customer for life. So
nice. Do you
yeah,
do
just
any
small things
sort
like that,
of
man.
markets or things like that in person?
Yeah, yeah. So that's primarily our source of income right now since we left SpaceX. We do monthly markets. We do probably about 4 markets a month,
Okay.
and all of those markets are primarily based around what we sell. So they're either like punk rock markets, heavy metal markets, some sort of spooky market that's going on like all year long. We just did an event called Halfway to Halloween. They had like over 75 vendors, specifically all like Halloween and horror related.
Very
So
cool.
finding markets like that that run all year long, where it's like people are just into horror and metal stuff all year,
Yeah,
24/7, 365. That's definitely where we fit in, and that's where we found places like that to call home on a monthly basis. We have events where we just people know like, hey, every month Hello Darkness is going to be here, and we're just regulars there every month.
sure.
And so I think definitely if you're trying to do this full time, you definitely have to find whether it's an online space, whether it's a vending market or something like that. You have to definitely try to find something to call your home and your base, something where you're going to get primarily the most of your income from, and then just in the meantime try to navigate other small little avenues here and there.
For sure. What would be your best piece of advice to people looking to do those types of markets? Because I've heard stories of people that go to them and have very little success. Some have a lot of success. Is there anything that you've found going them so often that has stuck out to you as something that could apply across the board?
Yes. So this is something that was definitely like a huge learning experience for me. I'm not very I don't really pay attention to a lot of what's going on in the markets and stuff like that, stocks and blah blah blah. But you have to know what's going on in the climate as far as what people can afford, how much people can afford to spend. In this climate, in this day and age right now, it's hard enough for people to even pay their mortgage or their rent and bills, let alone go out and splurge $50, $60 on a tumbler that they don't really need,
Sure,
right? So that's where you also have to be mindful of being able to give people a quality product at a price that they can realistically afford any day of the week,
sure,
where they don't have to break their bank. That's why I try to keep my prices relatively low. I keep them fair. I definitely still have to make it worth my time, but I definitely don't upcharge anybody for anything. And I think being humble in the market like that is what's brought us success. Where people know, hey, if I go to this market and Hello Darkness is there every single month, every month I can afford to buy something from him, no questions asked. Because whether it's $5, whether you're buying a $5 coaster, or whether you're buying a $45 mirror that's on the wall, you're leaving with something.
sure.
And that's what you want to be able to offer your fan base and the people that follow you. Is like, whether you fall on hard times or whether you won the lottery, you can come to a market and pick up something that you get to enjoy forever.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's really good advice, and I think will be key to everyone. I think knowing your economic climate, not only as a whole in the country, but even locally, what's going on,
Sure.
and how people are doing, if they're doing well, if they're not.
Sure.
And so I think that's really good advice. So you've got your start, you've got your business running full time for yourself. What's next for you? What's the next step? Is it more lasers? Is it expanding products?
It's definitely more lasers.
Okay,
I need to get a second bolt for sure. I'm hoping that they release the all black version again. I don't know. I know that all black one was pretty sweet, and it fits my aesthetic just perfectly. So um, definitely waiting for. Probably going to be pulling the trigger on another bolt here in the next couple months, just because
very cool.
production wise, I'm getting so backed up. And dude, like having one thunder it really is a teaser, because there's so many things you can do with it
Right.
that you're just like, it's either you're doing a tumbler, you're doing a mirror, you're doing this, you're doing that. You do everything so fast that it's just, yeah, I need another machine bad. It's either the another bolt, and definitely try to save up for another or and not another, I wish, and Aurora for sure, because I'm very curious to see what I can do with that.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. I think personally, from where I'm at, the bolts are you know the best bang for your buck, in my opinion, for the what it can do at the speed that it can do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a production mode, the bolt is good at the price that it's at. I have
Yes.
seen the Bolt Pros, and those get a little bit bigger bed size, and those things are amazing too. They go a little bit faster, but Dollar for dollar, I think the Bolt is definitely where it's at, as far as what, especially if you were someone that was wanting to start a business. I think
Oh
that's
yes, yes.
one of the best machines you can get. So, what I know you've given a lot of advice here, but is there any other advice for people in general, laser users, business owners, startups, that you would give to them, just from the little time that you've been doing it full time?
I would say just, I mean, love it with everything that you have. I mean, when I found laser engraving, when I got into this, it was it just completely changed the way I looked at the world. Everything, and the whole world became like my playground. Everywhere I go, I'm constantly looking for things to engrave. Whether it's at the grocery store, I'm looking at cans of Red Bull, and I'm like, I could put a cool logo on this for someone, or a cookie or something. I've engraved tortillas. It's just get lost in it. Get lost in it. Believe in yourself. If it's something crazy that you want to go out there and do, just go out there and do it. I mean, you're doing it for yourself. At the end of the day, a lot of things that I've done here on the laser are things that I've done for myself. I didn't really think they were going to work out, and then next thing you know, it ends up working out, and it's one of like the biggest products that I have. Like say like the mirrors or something like that. Not saying I was like the first one to do it or anything like that, but it was just a thought that came to my head, and I did, and I was like, holy moly, that's really cool. And just my only piece of advice is if you're going to get into this, be patient. Be patient with yourself. There's going to be so many days where you feel like just grabbing these lasers and throwing them out the window, especially if you're getting started with something that's not as superior like a Thunder. Um, but stick with it. Had I given up when the Glowforge was just having me pull my hair out, I wouldn't be here right now. And it's something that I'm very very grateful for. I'm grateful that honestly I'm grateful that I found this Thunder through you, Sam, because it was through your page that I honestly I've learned so much through your page, through Uncharted Customs, and then now Maker Supply, and the fact that you're just someone that's like so open to the community to just always reach out with such useful advice. It's just something that, like I said, we all really appreciate. So, yeah, really appreciate it, man. Yeah, just be patient with yourself, get lost in it, and just do crazy stuff.
Awesome. Well, that's very kind of you to say, and I think also really good advice for everyone else. So, before we wrap up, where can people find you on social media and even maybe at those physical markets?
So we do markets in California. We're based out of Lake Elsinore, California, primarily in the IE in the Orange County areas. So primarily, you can find us if you're in the Orange County area. We tend to do what's called Punk Rock Market, typically in the city of Santa Ana, the first Saturday of every month. We also do bike nights at this motorcycle shop called Go Trouble Bike Company, Bike Supply. So they're really cool. Or just keep an eye out for us on social media. Hello Darkness Creations. We're always posting where we're going to be at markets. If you guys are interested in anything custom, you want to reach out online, get anything customized, we could always do that and ship it out to you as well.
Perfect. Well, Johnny, thank you so much for joining us and sharing
Thank
your
you so much.
experience with Thunder and starting your new business. And best of luck moving forward.
Thank you so much, Sam. I appreciate you.
Have a good one.